In 480 BC, a Persian army of perhaps 200,000 men marched toward Greece. 300 Spartans walked toward them anyway, knowing they would not walk back. This wasn't desperation, it wasn't ignorance. The Spartans had read the terrain, they'd counted the enemy, they'd run the numbers, and they chose to die. Understanding why requires us to think like a strategist under pressure, because that's what King Leonidas was when he made this decision. Greece in 480 BC faced an existential threat. The Persian Empire under Xerxes had already conquered Egypt, Mesopotamia, and most of Asia Minor. Their logistics were immense. Their numbers seemed infinite. A Greek delegation had already been sent to negotiate. The question wasn't whether Persia would invade, it was when, and whether Greece would resist or submit. So why did Leonidas march north with just 300 Spartans and a few thousand allies? The answer lies in geography, not mythology. The pass at Thermopylae was a narrow bottleneck, roughly 50 meters wide in places. A massive army becomes useless in a corridor. Leonidas wasn't trying to win, he was trying to slow. What was he buying with delay? Time. Time for the other Greek city-states to mobilize. Time for Athens to evacuate its population. Time for a unified defense to form. Leonidas ran the calculation: 300 Spartan lives, already trained, already expendable by Spartan philosophy, against the possibility of saving Greece itself. But here's where Stoic choice enters the frame. Leonidas wasn't forced to stay. After 3 days of fighting, a local resident revealed a mountain path, a way for the Persians to outflank the pass and trap the Greeks from behind. Leonidas could have retreated, he could have lived. Instead, he dismissed most of his allies and ordered them to withdraw. Then he told his 300 and the 700 Thespians who chose to stay that they would hold the pass until the end, not until victory, until the end. He wasn't lying to them about their odds. This is the Stoic moment. Leonidas faced a choice between two clear outcomes: flee and live with the knowledge that he'd abandoned Greece, or stay and die knowing he'd bought time for survival of something larger than himself. The Stoics believed virtue was the only true good, and virtue meant choosing what was right, regardless of consequence to yourself. The fighting lasted 2 more days. The Spartans held the pass. They inflicted staggering casualties, perhaps 20,000 Persian losses against their own 1,000. The numbers tell the story. Leonidas had turned a numerical advantage into a liability. The narrow ground negated Persian superiority. When the Persians finally overwhelmed them, Leonidas was killed fighting, not captured, not begging, standing. This matters because it tells us something crucial. He didn't go to Thermopylae to die. He went to do a specific job, knowing that job would kill him. The distinction is everything. Modern life offers us the same choice in smaller currencies. Do you stay in a failing situation because leaving feels like defeat, or do you leave because staying serves no purpose? The Stoic answer isn't always leave or always stay. It's choose based on principle, not fear. Leonidas faced death. He didn't flinch, but he also didn't seek it recklessly. He calculated, he planned. He chose a noble death over a shameful life, but only because the calculation showed it was the right move, not because dying was inherently good. The Stoics called this amor fati, love of fate, not acceptance of whatever happens, but acceptance of the consequences of your choices once you've made them with clear eyes. Leonidas didn't love death. He loved the principle that made his death necessary. That's the lesson that survives 500 years. Not die for your country, that's propaganda. The lesson is, when you face a choice between comfort and principle, calculate the real cost. Count the numbers, run the scenario, then choose with conviction, knowing you'll live with the consequences. The 300 Spartans didn't win, but Greece did. Athens rebuilt, democracy spread. The Persians were eventually turned back at Salamis and Plataea. Leonidas's delaying action bought the time that made all of it possible. His death was terrible. His choice was brilliant. When you face your own Thermopylae, when you must choose between surrender and sacrifice, remember that the Stoic answer isn't automatic. It requires calculation. It requires clarity about what you're sacrificing for. And it requires the courage to live with your choice, not just to die with it. So the question returns to you: what principle is worth the cost? What would you defend not because you want to die, but because you can't live with yourself if you didn't? That's not martyrdom. That's strategy. That's stoicism. That's the real lesson of Thermopylae. Subscribe to get more reflections on Stoic philosophy and history, where every decision is a strategy and every choice carries a price.